modern vampires. It's not like they go around killing people and drinking people's blood. There are some people who want the world to think that they're capable of being that sinister. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video I have a bizarre missing persons case, and as I've mentioned before, this channel is really more about the strange and the mysterious. Think of like the Twilight Zone, that's the kind of things I like to talk about. When I do cover a missing persons case, it's because there's an element about it that is a little bit stranger than your average missing persons case. And today we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Susan Walsh. So Susan Walsh was a working mom. She lived in Nutley, New Jersey with her 11-year-old son, and she was working as a stripper, but she was going to school at NYU to become a journalist, which was like her passion. And she was also kind of freelancing at the same time. She was writing pieces for the Village Voice. I mean, she really was getting into it, and she really wanted to do this as a career. But you know, in the meantime, to pay for school, to pay for everything else, she was still dancing. And she lived in an apartment with a male friend of hers as a roommate, and her estranged husband Mark lived in the apartment downstairs. From what I understand, her and Mark did not have the best relationship. I mean, obviously they're no longer together, but I mean, they lived right next door to each other essentially, so I'm not sure how that situation came about. They shared custody of their son, and this is where I just have to say right away, I just think it's a little bit weird. Basically, when Susan disappeared, when this all started, she was going across the street to use a payphone to make a phone call because she didn't have a phone, and her husband, her estranged husband, wouldn't let her use his phone. I mean, look, I don't know what their relationship was like, I don't know why things didn't work out with them, but it's like the mother of your child. Like, I don't understand why you can't let her use your phone, but whatever. And apparently this was like a routine thing that she did because she didn't have a phone. This was 1996, and people did not have cell phones back then. Everyone just had a landline. So in order for her to use a phone, she would go across the street to the payphone. And one day, like she had done many times before, she went to use this payphone and was never seen or heard from again. When people first noticed that she was missing, some friends speculated that she may have had a relapse. Susan had been sober for 11 years. You can always relapse. I mean, you know, that can happen at any time. So they just kind of thought maybe that was where she was. Maybe she was on like some kind of bender. They didn't jump into something happened to her mode right away, you know, which I think is really sad, especially people that work in like strip clubs and things like that, and like those kind of what I consider to be seedy environments. People, I feel like, don't take it so seriously right away when they go missing, and I just think that's really shitty. But eventually they realized something happened to her and that something was wrong, and there's a lot of suspects in this case. So we'll just start off with the husband and the roommate just to get them out of the way because they were ruled out pretty quickly. I don't know why I have like really shortness of breath today, guys. I'm sorry if you can hear me breathing heavily. I don't know what's wrong with me. So the roommate was ruled out. I don't know why. And the husband was also ruled out right away. I don't know why either. I guess they had alibis. I just thought it was really weird that the husband was ruled out because he refused to let the police do like a forensic sweep of the apartment. Like, if you're innocent, why would you have a problem with them doing that, you know? But he was ruled out as a suspect, as I said. Another thing that was weird was that the page from like the week that she went missing was ripped out of her planner. So now we get into, I guess, what are the more juicier suspects. So Susan had mentioned to several people that she thought she was being stalked. And I've seen it mentioned somewhere that she mentioned to her, either her boyfriend or her husband. I don't know if she was even seeing anybody, but to some man in her life, she mentioned that an ex-boyfriend was stalking her. And then to other people, she just said that she was being followed, and she didn't really go into a lot of details with anybody. She seemed to be very scared to talk about it. The police couldn't find too many leads on that, so they kind of focused their attention to the circles that Susan was running in at the time that she disappeared. So like I said, Susan had been working towards becoming a journalist, an investigative journalist, and she was already like fully throwing herself into that lifestyle. She had written a piece on this underground sex ring that was supposedly orchestrated by the Russian mafia in New York City, where they were taking girls and forcing them into sex slavery, essentially. So the police and even just the public thought maybe the mafia put out a hit on her. Like, that's totally possible because she's about to blow the lid off on this whole operation. One of the reasons why I feel like that could be what happened to her is just because there's literally no trace of her, and if anybody knows how to dispose of a body, it would be the mafia. So, I mean, I'm not ruling that out either. Now we get to the whole reason why I chose this case for today's video. There was speculation that Susan could have been murdered by someone in the underground vampire community of New York City. Again, going back to her passion, which was investigative journalism, Susan had written a piece for the Village Voice on the vampire community that was up and coming. At the time, in 1996, this was like a growing community. Like, vampires were on the rise. Like, people wanted to be part of this. It was like the cool thing. And I just want to say, because I've met people in real life that are part of this community, and I'm not trying to insult anybody by any means. It's not anything against vampires. It's just anybody could be a bad person. So Susan was writing a piece on this. She was doing a lot of investigating, and the article actually never was published because Susan's editor felt that she was too sympathetic, and I guess it was too much of a bias, which editors were like that today, but yeah, she was a little too biased, so they didn't run the article. When I was looking at this, I'm like, that is a little bit weird. Like, why would the vampire community be upset with her for writing something good about them? But who knows? I wasn't there. I don't know who these people were specifically at this time. I don't know what their agenda was. Maybe they really needed this publicity for some reason. I mean, I have no idea. Almost immediately after Susan disappeared, a woman named Catherine Ramsland, who identifies herself as a clinical vampirism expert, and she's an author, took it upon herself to further investigate this community to try to find out if they were involved with Susan's disappearance. And she actually published a book in 1998 called Piercing the Darkness, which was just 2 years after Susan disappeared. So if you guys want to read that book, I haven't read it yet, but that details her whole investigation. The book is described as being what Susan had originally set out to do. It kind of like goes into the whole experience. It really dives into that whole entire world at that time. Ramsland ultimately said that from her investigation, she found that the majority of people involved in this community were harmless and benign, that were dwelling in a harmless, macabre fantasy. Perhaps they occasionally dabbled in consensual blood sharing, blood consumption, and various fetishes, but nothing more. And I just took that quote from theghostdiaries.com because I can't think of a better way to say that. Ramsland also argued, you know, if they had something to do with her disappearance, why would they let me go so deep and go into this full-on investigation? Why would they be so willing to, like, just let me do this? The only thing that I would argue, playing devil's advocate here, is maybe they wanted to clear their name for whatever reason. Maybe out of them being innocent, but also maybe they were trying to hide something. And maybe they needed this publicity. They needed this good publicity, which is what it sounds like she did. You know? I don't know. And again, I just wanted to say, I'm not saying, like, people that are part of this world, people that participate in that or identify themselves as being vampires, I don't think that they're bad, evil people, but I'm just saying in this scenario, something could have happened to her. And somebody did mention somewhere that I read, there are certain people that, while modern vampires, they go around killing people and drinking people's blood, there are some people who want the world to think that they're capable of being that sinister. Maybe, like, somebody did do something to Susan in this case for that purpose. but then it's like, wouldn't you want to take credit for it somehow? It's, so I'm saying, it's a really, really weird case, you guys. Like, I personally have no idea. If I had to put my money on anybody, it would be the husband. 9 times out of 10, that's who it is. And also, he's acted the most suspicious out of everybody. Susan's body has never been found. She's never turned up anywhere. We haven't had any sightings of her. She literally just vanished, and investigators eventually came to the conclusion that she just left on her own, which I think is absolute bullshit. Everybody that knows Susan said that she loved her son and was extremely overprotective of him and wouldn't just leave him. I don't know. That just sounds like the police copping out of it to me. No pun intended. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't think she left. I think she was killed and her body was disposed of in a very effective way. Susan is alive today. She'd be 58 years old. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'6" and about 110 pounds with blonde hair and I believe blue or green eyes. I couldn't find that information anywhere for some reason, but there will be pictures, and I probably have been putting pictures up throughout this video. So anyway guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you do like this kind of content and you want to see more, you should definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you guys know when I upload a new video, which is every single Sunday. I put up a new video every week. I have some really exciting things planned for next month. It's October, it's Halloween month, so every video is going to be paranormal themed, and I have a really cool, exciting little vlog thing planned towards the end of the month. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, a little different from my other videos, the style of it anyway. But yeah, really cool stuff going on. Oh, and you should also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is where you'll find the most updates about videos. I also do a lot of polls on there, ask you guys what you want to see for a video, and it's the best way to interact with me because I'm on there the most. So I would love for you to do that. I don't know why I'm so out of breath today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm like breathing so heavily. I really don't know what's wrong with me. But anyway, thank you again, guys, so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.